Morning everyone, David here. I hope you're well. It's the beginning of autumn and the leaves are beginning to turn, so my attention is turning to the Grayling. I'm off to one of my local rivers. It's a semi-urban river to do some upstream nymphing for Grayling using the Sawyer's killer bug. Here's a quick rundown of the setup I'm using today. It's my standard river fly fishing outfit, a 9-foot 4-weight rod, weight forward line, 9-foot tapered leader in 5X with about 2 to 3 feet of tippet in 6X tied on the end of the leader. One last little thing about my upstream nymphing setup. On the end of the fly line I have a high-vis braided loop connector, and not only does this connect the fly line to the tapered leader, it's also going to act as my strike indicator, and if this disappears, if it slows down, if it dips under the water, a fish might have taken my nymph and I'm going to strike. Now, one important thing about this is that it floats nice and highly in the water, so to make sure it does that, I'm going to add some mousseline grease. Apply your grease to the braided connector and maybe a few inches of the fly line as well, and it will ensure that it floats nice and highly in the water. This is the fly I'm going to be using today, Sawyer's killer bug. This is the version that we sell. It's not tied exactly to Frank Sawyer's original recipe. There's a couple of little alterations, but it's virtually the same. It's designed to imitate the freshwater shrimp. And the reason Sawyer tied this was he wanted a really quick, simple tie in order to catch Grayling, because where he was the riverkeeper on the River Avon, Grayling in those days were considered vermin, and they just wanted trout in the river. So this was a fly that he tied in order to catch the Grayling, to pull them out and then dispatch them. So here's the first run I'm going to be fishing, just under a bridge actually, and the area I want to concentrate my fly on is where the arrow is on the left bank there, just under the vegetation. There's a nice deep channel with a bubble stream. This is where the current is concentrated and it will be bringing food down, and that's where I would expect the fish to be lying here. Couple of casts out, upstream, watching that braided loop come back, and just as I'm about to recast, there's the first take of the day. You can see that the line just shooting away actually just takes me by surprise, and just have to get hold of that line. But we get a nice little Grayling to start off, and that I think was actually first or second cast. So now I'm fishing this glide. It's not ideal for nymph fishing. I prefer faster water for nymph fishing. This would probably be more suited to the dry fly. The depth of the river is pretty equal in between the arrows, and the current as well, as you can see by the white bubbles, is a nice steady equal current, so the fish could really be anywhere from bank to bank here. So it's just a case of prospecting with the nymph and trying to get that nymph down to the bottom, to that feeding zone where the fish are going to be. So 3 or 4 casts into fishing the glide, and the braided loop shot away and I was into a fish. I could tell straight away that this was a trout, just got a little bit more scrap to it, but it was actually the only trout of the day in amongst all those Grayling, and there it goes back into the stream. So I've moved up the glide a few more meters, prospecting around with the nymph, and I'm into another small Grayling here. One thing I will mention about these killer bugs is don't be afraid to tie or use them in big sizes. Size 10s, size 12s, even small Grayling will be quite happy with a nymph of that size. Right, this is a fantastic patch of river for Grayling. As you can see, there's a fast, deep channel of water on the left that butts right up to this factory wall. And Grayling absolutely love this patch of river. What's important here is making sure that nymph is getting down as deep as you can get it, retrieving that slack line as quick as you can as it hurtles back down the river, and watching that braided loop in case it stabs away when a fish takes your fly. And we're into a better Grayling this time. I've moved further up the river, and here's a fantastic piece of water for nymph fishing. What we've got here is the very top of the deep channel, and this is where the water is kind of pinched as it all has to run into the channel. There's some rocks and the gradient slopes down, so there's the fast pinch point at the top, and that's where the food first enters the channel. So it's always going to be a significant lie for fish who are keen to have first dibs on that food. And I get into a nice fish right at the top of the run, just where I expected one to be. This one's the best one of the day, even spins the drag a little bit on the reel. So a really enjoyable session out fishing for the grayling on Sawyer's killer bug. If you want to find out more about our fly fishing coaching, please visit www.peaksflyfishing.com, or to buy any of the flies featured in this video, it's shop.peaksflyfishing.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.